Hello everyone, my name is Anu and today we are going to discuss our first lecture in English, that is social problems and conceptual understanding. In this lecture we will going to discuss about some approaches and theories which will gonna help us to understand our course in detail. Right, so before the starting of this video, I would love if you guys go and subscribe our channel, and to get all the notification of our latest videos, don't forget to click on bell icon. So our today's topic start with the understanding of some initial observation, and the first initial observation, or we can say it as a keyword, is social issues. So social issues are political debates involving moral judgment about how people should live. Now we can understand it with an example, that is fundamental right. So if there any fundamental rights are not accepting or following up, so there must be any problem is ongoing, right? Or that problem or that issue is known as social issue. I hope you guys are getting the point. Next is social movement. Social movements are an organized effort to encourage or discourage some dimension of social change. Now you must be thinking that how at the same time these movements are encouraging and discouraging, right, to some dimension of society. See, I will give an example of this also. If we see the example of Atmanirbhar Bharat that has been launched by our Honorable Prime Minister in June 2020, he is with the help of this movement, Prime Minister is encouraging the people of India to be self-sufficient, to use the products and items which has been provided, produced in our India, in our country, and at the same time he is discouraging also to not use the products or item or applications which had made by the China or any other country, right? So at the same time, he, with the help of this movement, he is also encouraging us and discouraging, right? Next is social policy. Social policy is a formal strategy to shape our some aspects of social life, and social policy aims to ensure the welfare of individuals through legislative regulations or law. Because social policy is affected by social development, so it's change based on needs of individuals, right? State makes new regulation based on our needs, based on the needs of any individual. If we take any example of this also, there is Digital India that has been launched again by Honorable Prime Minister in July 2015, and its objective were that Government of India ensure that the government services are made available to citizen electronically by improved online infrastructure and by increasing internet connectivity. So now I can say this that every person who is watching this video must be aware of about the importance of internet, right? This lockdown, this corona period, this pandemic period also taught us about the importance of internet more, but we also were aware before too, but now it had taught us so many things. So this initiative includes plans to connect rural areas with high-speed internet. Okay, so these are some social policies example. These are the example, and this is, we can say, that is a formal strategy that we know as a social policy. Next is social problems. So social problems are societal induced conditions that harm any segment of the population. And social problems are also related to acts and conditions that violate the norms and values found in society. Any things that the violation of any norms that has been made by in our society or of a legislative or law, that is known as social problems. Let's move further. Next is review of journal theory. So here we will see some journal theories about the social issues and problems, and the first one is functionalist theory. So according to this theory, to understand the society from a functionalist perspective is to visualize society as a system where all parts act together even though each part may be doing different things. See, don't be afraid. I will give example of this also. I know it's quite complex. See, if we see the example in a society, if we see, we had read there a word that is institution, right? So what are the institutions in society? In society, institutions are such as family, right, education and religion. These are the part which I am talking about in the definition. These are the part of the social system. These are the institutional. These works as a institutional, right, in the social system. So these structures society has, this social activity is organized around. For example, if you take in a take birth in a family, right, you are a part of an institution in a social system. But after a certain age, you also go for the education to schools, in schools. So again you are a part of another institution or another part, that is school. But at the same time in your family, in you are also doing some rituals, some religious rituals. Again you are performing another part and another act. But these all are interlinked. These all are together interlinked and together connected. So we can say very nicely that all the parts act together, right? But though each part may be doing different things. I hope you guys get the point. So why the functionalist theory? What is the objective of this? What is the goal of these parts doing the work together? The overall goal of various structures is to maintain order in society. So the structure in society, this structure which we are talking about, in society promote integration, stability and balance. According to the functionalist theory, this is the overview. Next is the conflict theory, and conflict theory is a theoretical framework which sees society as divided by inequality and conflict. So before understanding anything further, I would love to show you this picture. You must be watching or seeing a picture, two picture actually in a frame on your screen. There you guys can see that there is an adult, a girl and a old lady or a disabled person or kid, I don't know. So basically in the first picture where the equality is written, the adult and the girl and the disabled boy or girl is given the three boxes equally. Equally means, equality means the equally, that you give some things to someone equally in equal portion. So if we can see that the adult is standing on the box and watching the match and enjoying it maybe, so he is very comfortable. But if we see the girl, that she is also standing on the box but she is not comfortable, right, because she is uprising her fits, right. But if we see the kid or we see the old lady who is disabled, she has also given the box but she or he is not able to stand on that box. Why? Because she is not, the physical the physical body of her is not allowing to her on sit that box or to stand on that box. That means the equally they have given these boxes but they did not work equally for the person, right. The equally resources you give for someone, but the resources you equally give does not act as equally. In the next picture there is equity. We are just discussing the difference between them. We can see in equity photographs the adult has no box, and after that also his height is that much that he is able to enjoy the match comfortably, right. But the girl which we were seeing in the left photograph, we were looking that she was looking some kind of, she was seemed some kind of uncomfortable. But in this picture she has been provided two boxes and she is very comfortable. She is watching the match, enjoying too. And if we see the third picture, the third person in this particular frame out or in this particular photograph, now in equity he has been provided a grid kind of structure with a bottom surface, with a flat surface. So he or she can be very nicely can use that to watch the match. So this is equality and this is equity. Now if there is inequality in conflict theory, according to conflict theory, that doesn't mean that in society has equity. We will see this. So conflict theories see society less as a cohesive system and more an arena of conflict and power struggle. Now let's go to the again that picture. So now we just heard or we just try to understand that according to this theory they are saying that this cohesive system of society are an arena of conflict and power struggle. So if we see the picture of equality, they both are given one box, the adult and the girl. But if we can assume that adult is more powerful than the girl, and with his power he can take his box without her permission. True. This is the conflict of power struggle, but the girl is as less powerful to the adult. She cannot take her his box or her box, right? So this theory is telling us about this conflict of power and struggles, this conflict of powers. So to understand it in more deep, see what happens, what people used to do. Instead of people working together to further the goals of the social system, people are seeing achieving their will at the expense of others. We just took an example of that. We just seen this, right? So this is the conflict theory. Next is the symbolic interactionist theory. In this theory, symbolic interactionist theory is a kind of theoretical framework that sees society as a product of individuals interacting with each other. Now what is interaction? See, the interaction is generally face to face and address everyday activities, but here interaction is also can be symbolic. Like a person is not talking to each other, the two individuals are there but they are not talking, but they are giving some symbols. So this interaction can be symbolic here because the name of it is symbolic interactionist theory. So according to this, they are the individuals, these are interested in way individual act toward the other individual act and respond, and we can say also that how they influence one another in society, right? So they don't consider social institutions like the economy or government. So interactionists prefer to explore the interaction of individuals or any groups of individuals. We just see there when we were saying that this can be face to face or symbolic also. So they can be a two individual or there can be groups of individuals too, right? So each communication produced new perspective in society, new acceptations too. When one individual talk to another individual, maybe they promise to each other of doing some work, so there some arena of acceptations already comes. It's kind of a very normal things to come, acceptations from the interaction of any person with the interaction of any person, and boundaries also, and boundaries that individuals use to assure continual interaction in the future, right? If a person come to you, for example, and you talk to him very politely, but the person has not the person is not responding to your talk, your interaction which you try to do with him, so what will be you do in the next time? You must avoid that person, right? So these are the boundaries. So the person will not avoid you, so that you have to interact with the person very nicely, how the another individual is interacting with you. So this creates the boundaries of individual to assure the continual interaction in the future. So society, according to this theory, occurs as a result of interaction between individual and small groups of individual. Let's move further, and this is the history of social problems theory. Now don't confuse here. Don't think that we are talking about the history of social problems. No, we are not talking about the history of social problems, but we are talking about the history of social problems theory. That means we are taking the theory, the history of theory, not the problems itself. So the first theory, history of the social problems, is the medical model. So this medical model was given by the early sociologists, early researchers and they try to understand society with this model, this theory. They said or they talk about the universal criteria for normality. Now we will understand what is the meaning of this universal criteria for normality. So basically, according to this, the universal criteria for normality, the socialist or the researchers assumed, or they want to assume this by the society also, that social problems were linked to the bad people. The bad people, if there is no bad people, that means there is no social problems. Now who are the bad people? Whom they assume that these are the bad people. So they were viewed as abnormal. The bad people were viewed as abnormal because of mental deficiency. That means any person who was mentally deficient, that means he was abnormal and he was a threat for the society and he could create the social problem, right? Any person with the mental disorder too, again, any person who had lackness of education. The powerful person must or might think that a person who is less educated, that means he is abnormal, that means he can do anything that is not for good for society. Educated person, they were sociologists, they could think that this is not my personal view for assurance. And incomplete socialization, any person who is not very socialized, who is not normal as other individual, right? That means incomplete socialization person who incomplete socialize with the society are also seen as the bad person. So this universal criteria of normality was very, we can say, the center point of the medical model. Next, after some times, there is a theory comes in the 1920s and 1930s using a variation on this medical model perspective. So what happens, some sociologists focused on the condition in society that fosters social problems, and this known as absolute approach to condition in the society. Now what is the meaning of focused on condition in society that fostered social problems? That means that some socialist or some researcher focus the conditions. Fostered means that push, that are we can say that are the reason for the social problems, that pushes the social problems. How could a social problem occur? So they focused on that conditions, that situations. So in this time they investigated the process of migration, urbanization and industrialization too. Why industrialization, migration, urbanization? Because in this century these all things were happening, right? At this century, in 18th, 19th, 20th century, we could see this process, this heavy migration because of urbanization and because of industrialization. These three were interlinked with each other. So they tried to focus on these things and they looked for the pockets of social disorganization. For example, pockets of disorganizations are kind of areas of the cities that have high rates in and out migration, also have high rates of crime. They are trying to give this theory, they are trying to focus on this theory basic of facts, based on facts with the some data, right? Next is modern studies of deviance. Deviance here refers to the difference, and see, in the recent past, not very before, the recent past, sociologists have returned to the study of problem individuals. Now we just had see that what the universal criteria for normality, or the we can see that the study of problem of individual was seen also in the medical model. Then why this is modern studies of deviance and not the same the medical model again? Because there is some difference, and we will see in this theory, in this approach, there are two theories, different theories. First is Merton social strength theory, that was introduced by Robert K. Merton. And according to him, the society provides goals and means to achieve these goals, right? But what happens? Differences or deviance occurs when their people recognize the goals but don't have sufficient means to achieve those goals. That means if you are giving a person to the right of dreaming, to right of dream any goal about, but you are not giving the resources to fulfill that dream of him or his, right? So this was the problem according to them, the Robert, according to Robert K. Morton, he was saying that these kind of conditions frustrate the person, frustrated the individual, and he can be do something that can create social problem, that can be possible, that can seen as a social problem. So we can now see the difference between universal criteria for normality and the modern studies of deviance. Next is labeling theory. And this labeling theories, the other persons or the other individuals explore the role in society in creating and sustaining deviance through labeling those people who viewed as abnormal. Now these others can be anyone, these other can be the family member of that person, or can be neighbors, or can be anyone who are stranger or not know that person, but heard about that person from any other individual, and they also started to believe that theory, they also started to believe that this person is abnormal because someone else is saying this, right? So this is labeling theory, and this social reaction of others are viewed as key in determining what a social problem is and who is deviant, who is different according to labeling theory. Now next is the subjective nature of social problems. Now there is so many argument we can see on this topic, what is the subjective nature of social problems, but the most agreed arguments are that some person, some individuals, some researchers argued that what is considered a social problem is dependent on time and audience, right? So what is a problem, what can be considered is a problem, is dependent on time and audience. Now let's try to understand this more detail with the help of any example. So if we see the example, see, let's take the unemployment. So unemployment is not a problem for everyone, right? If someone has if someone do not wish to do any work, so unemployment is not a problem for him, true? So at that time, at that audience, that is not a problem. Again, if we take an example of unemployment itself, if a child whose age is just 5 years old, he do not need to do any employment, any work. So according to him, if there is unemployment, that means he actually does not need to do any work. So this unemployment is not problem for him, right? Let's try to take another example too. If we take the example of LGBTQ, so you must be aware about it that section 377 was abolished in 6th of September 2018 by Supreme Court, and before the abolishment of this section, according to this section, if two individual of same sex were in any relationship, that was considered as a criminal offense. So now what you guys understand, before 2018, before the abolishment of this section, on that time and that audience, for that audience, right, that was a criminal offense, that means that was a social problem. But now this is not an criminal offense, now this is not an crime, because of the abolishment of section 377. So what is this now? This cannot be considered as a social problem now, right? So I hope you got this point. Let's move further. Now another very important thing which I love to discuss with you on this topic is the reaction to social problems. Now you must be seeing the picture on your screen here, is that there are two old person, maybe couple, and they are very happy, they seems very happy, they are enjoying the nature, right? See, this couple seems very happy, they are enjoying this nature, but here this adult man and this adult woman are not seeing happy, but they are at the same place, at a same place someone is enjoying and someone is not, that means these are the reaction of these peoples, right? These are the another things, that they have any job pressure or any problem, but these are the conditions, that this is the reaction of them, that they are happy, but their reaction is not same as them, right? So let's try to understand the reaction of social problems to reaction of peoples toward the social problems. See, there are different type of people in society. Agree? There are so many different type of people. Their habits, their choices are different from each others, right? So different people react differently to the social problems. See, this differences can be explained in terms of the following 4 factors, which I am just going to explain, and let's try to understand, let's try to enjoy this portion, because this is the reality of our society. You were be feeling something like I can say that you before this topic, before this subtopic of this topic, you were something unaware of the approaches and theories which I was discussing till yet, right? But this is very much relatable. Let's try to relate this and let's try to understand this in deep, because this is very important. This is very important to solve any social problem. This is very important to understand this subtopic, to understand this social problem course, right? So the first one is an attitude to unconcern. See, many people and the state at times remain indifferent to a problem, thinking that is not affect them. See, many people are very indifferent to a problem, thinking that does not affect them. So at times their own individual problems, like maybe a family tension or job pressure, keep them so engaged that they do not find time to be interested in what affects others. This can be possible, right? But it is the only when their own interests are involved that they become agitated and start taking interest in the problem, when they are going to affect by that problem, their interest started involving. So this is an attitude of an unconcerned person. And next is the fatalism. So fatalism is kind of a belief system that all events are predetermined and therefore inevitable. Inevitable means that they cannot be changed. See, so many people or in society, or a particular category of people in our society, are so fatalistic that they attribute everything to destiny. They left everything to their destiny. Issues like poverty or unemployment are also explained in terms of misfortune or past karma, we can say. So therefore they suffer the misfortune quietly and wait for some miracle to happen. Now I hear so many phrases since my childhood about this fatalism. If someone is not getting any job, then oh, our destiny is not with us, our bad luck is going on, we need to go with any any astrologer to find out that what is the problem is ongoing with our past karmas or our destiny, with our destiny. So this is a fatalism. This are the kind of fatalistic person whose this kind of thinking has. Next is vested interest. So vested interest is we can say that strong secret reason for doing something that will bring them advantage of something kind of money or kind of power. So some people take no interest. These kind of people which I have just tell that vested interest, what is vested interest? So those person who have vested interest, they do not take any interest in the existing problems, because they stand to gain so long as the problem exists. Agree? So motivated by self interest, they describe the problem as insoluble, that means the problem cannot be solved, and talk about it reduction as a waste of time. Someone want to solve the problem, someone is giving any solution to the problem, they people demotivate that person. They said that why you are wasting your time, the reduction of this problem is kind of a waste of time, right? So these are the vested interest person who has vested interest, because they gain any advantage from them. Next is absence of expert knowledge. Now try to relate this with the vested interest too. because it is quite relatable according to me. So some people, though deeply concerned about the problem but do not take much interest in it, believing that its solution is impossible unless people change their attitude and values. Okay, so these people, these have very strong interest to solve, but they are the same people who are demotivated by these vested interest peoples. These vested interest persons, individuals who demotivated them are they, right? So they have kind of absence of expert knowledge. We all have very much we can say that perspective, different perspective, and different perspective when things on a same situation, the solution cannot come, it cannot happen. According to me, it cannot happen. The solution has to come. When so many minds are thinking about to solve any problem, how can it possible that solution can't become, right? So these changes must be initiated by a change in outlook of that person, so they remain unconcerned about the finding alternative possibilities of treatment. We can take an example here of dowry, and dowry is one such problem in our society, because there are so many absence of we can say that expert knowledge. Now let's move further, that is type of social problems. Our next subtopic is, first is norm violation. What is norm violation? See, norm violations are assumed that a standard of behavior exists in our society, and people who study these norm violation are interested in society's failure, like the criminal or the mentally ill person or the mentally ill individual or any school dropout person. So though researchers, socialists are kind of interested in these failures of the individuals. And according to Idjan contended that however, the norms violation are symptoms of social problems rather than the problem itself. You can read from here. Norm violation are the symptoms of social problem rather than the problem itself. Again, kind of the conditions, society conditions impose the social problems rather than the problem itself occurs. These conditions are very much, according to him, according to norm violation also, are very much responsible for that. Next is social condition. Social conditions are a second type of social problems which involves conditions that cause psychic and material suffering for some category of people. Now there we need to understand that on which thing these conditions are focusing about, what they are trying to say. So see, if we focus on how society operate and who benefit and who doesn't benefit under existing social arrangement, then I think we can able to understand these social conditions problems, right? So for example, what is the bias of the system? What is the biasness happening with the people because of the existing system? And if we think like do some categories of people suffer due to the way schools are organized? So I think this kind of thinking, this kind of perspective can be very, if we think this kind of perspective, then it can be beneficial for us to understand the type of social problems, the type of social conditions we are talking here. Next is so before going to next, I just want to say something more on social conditions. I think when some people want some basic needs or some shelter, we can say, or food or security, right? And when these needs are not met, the individual automatically, we can assume this, if this happens with is, can't we become like a hostile or frustrated toward our society and its norms, which are because of which we are not getting our basic needs, our basic we can say rights which should be get. So this frustration or the frustration will be expressed in withdrawal or alcohol or any other drugs, or the violence of crime, we were talking like the crime. So these are very understandable, this can be understood by the these things, we can relate this, we can try to understand this problem. Either just blaming on some people, some individual, we should at least once look on the conditions, at least once see that what were the problems, what were the situation because of the people, the person is now like this. I hope you get this very nicely. Next is institutional deviance. So often what happens now, when one person or when individual attempt to understand deviance, they will look at the characteristics of the individual to explain this deviance or this differences. So see, the source of we can say the deviance is found within the social structure, right? Because if there is society comes under the social structure. To balance again it, we just read in this lecture as well. So the source of deviance is found within the social structure itself. So society kind of plays a role in creating and sustaining deviance by labeling those who viewed as abnormal, because in these institutions also. So institutional deviance is kind of used to describe a situation when the institution or society serves a selected few people or a few people category who are generally powerful. We see the conflict theory. This is kind of similar. This can be understood by that also. So in any institution, it can be deviance can be seen or difference can be seen when society and its formal organization are not meeting the needs of any individual. Maybe it's the need of money, maybe it is the need of power which he which he deserve, but not getting because of the institutional differences. So it's all for today, and thank you so much for watching my lecture till yet. And if you guys are watching right now also, please like the lecture and share as much as you can. So thank you so much, and we will meet soon.